Shalom, beloved family. It's your girl Sophia Spiritualite, and I'm about an hour from home, so I wanted to record this video before I get into the bed and pass out. I posted the link to listen to the Testament of Job, and I also have the link to the actual book in the description if somebody wants to read it. But I just had a few ideas, thoughts that I wanted to talk about, and I didn't want to forget them by going to sleep. So, the first thing is that I think if people have read this book, they actually skipped over the most important part of the book, which is the very first line or two lines where it says who Job was. Not only was he a king of Egypt, one of their kings, but he was also a son of Esau. And that's what I really want to talk about right now because that is a drop that I don't know if anybody else picked up, but I really shaded the whole rest of the story based on that fact. And why? Well, first of all, we know for a fact that the sons of Esau, they have a lot that they have to go through to make up for their father. There's no short or long of it. And therefore, if they want to get into the favor of the Most High, they're gonna have to do a little bit more than what the sons of um, Jacob or whoever, the brother, not Esau, the ones who are not the sons of Esau, they have to do a little bit more. It's not quite the same thing for us, as it is for them. And we have to keep that in you have to keep that in mind when reading that story. And it doesn't make sense without keeping that in mind because the reason why they don't again why they wouldn't want our people to know this story is because it lays out line for line, word for word, what the children of Esau have to do to be redeemed by the Father. It lays it out. And what is this? What did Job have to do? First, he first of all, this is the craziest part of the whole thing, and another thing I think people miss. An angel came and told him what he was going to have to do, and told him all the things he was going to suffer. Told him straight out. Our people, we don't get told straight. I just told y'all what happened to me. We don't get told straight out before it starts what's going to be given to us in the end. But them, they know what's going to happen in the end if they do the right thing. They're very well aware of it. So for any of them to act like they don't know is ridiculous because their brother Job showed very clearly what exactly happens, how the process goes. An angel comes to them and tells them, look, here's what you need to do to get into the good graces of the Most High. And they lay it out very specifically. One of the things that I noticed that was laid out, number one, they have to take care of the poor. That's their job to get redeemed. In order to get redeemed, they have to take care of the poor. They have to take care of the orphans. They have to sell what they have or give it away really, and thus maybe some of these billionaires quote unquote giving away their stuff makes sense, but they have to give it away. Not only do they have to give away enough of it to poor people, not just anybody, hence why you have these people giving stuff away to these organizations and whatnot. Not the same, but they have to give it away to so-called poor people, and they have to keep maintain enough to take care of the widows and the poor and the hungry and the homeless. And they have to keep their doors open, set a permanent table for them, let people come in, see them at the door, greet them, give them everything they need. And another thing I noticed is that Job wrote notes for them. Of course, I shared a video about notes. I want y'all to definitely check that video out because we're going to move into some financial stuff coming up here soon. But Job wrote notes for them. He literally wrote banknotes for them. And he was the bank for these people who came in and wanted to start a business, try a business, whatever. Some people gained money, some people lost money. The ones who lost money, he forgave them. He forgave them, and the government has adopted that, but they didn't tell you that they forgive the notes. They don't tell you that they guarantee the notes. They lie about that. So that's more information. Just stick that in your hat, and hold on to that for a little while. So Job wrote them notes. Job sold all of his oxen. He kept his house open for anybody to come. He always had a table set. He had what 20 some crazy number of bakeries which always baked bread, and he always had food. He didn't unemploy any people. He reassigned people, and he made all his kids. What were the kids doing? They were as the servants. They had to serve the servants. That's what they did. And so you mean to tell me, and he did that for however long he did. I mean, in the book it says he lived all the way 255 years. So at least, 30, 40, 50 years he was doing this with his doors open until they came in and they did all that other stuff. So this was going on for a long amount of time. Not no, oh, I'm Jeff Bezos, I'm going to give away my wealth today, and then that's it. You're never going to see me do anything else again. No, that's not what y'all's brother did. They always want to tell us about what our people did, but look at what your brother had to do. He had to give up everything. And then when Satan said that wasn't enough, again, that wasn't enough, then this fool gonna go and inflict him with pain. And the crazy part about that is when he was so sick and he just had to sit back and deal and take it, and a worm fell out of his body, he put it back. I mean, this is what y'all have to do, Esau. This is what y'all have to do. This is how you atone. And you know that this is what you have to do. And I think that's the worst part of the story for me, because they literally, the angels come and tell them what they're going to have to do. They know very well what they have to do to alleviate their situation. They know exactly what they have to do. And yet they don't, they think they're going to get away. They think they're going to get Job's reward without going through Job's punishment. Absolutely not. You know, that's what I call, like in the way we discuss things, it's kind of like a karma cleanse. He cleansed his karma all the way back to his daddy, Esau. He cleansed the karma for his line, which made him worthy and able to get with uh, one of our people, Dinah. So he had to do a lot of work. He had to give everything up, including his health, including every one of his riches. And I think another part of the story that's crazy is that when the other kings came to visit him, they had to light incense for, what they say, like 10 days just to be able to get close. They had to light a ring of incense around him for 7 to 10 days before they could even approach Job. That's how bad he smelled. I mean, and this is other people who are like him. This is what they had to do. I mean, this is no small thing. I don't, you could easily hear that story and totally miss these little details. So upon hearing the story, like I said, wanted to provide my reflection, but I also need to say that what what the Most High had Job do, we wouldn't we that's not what we have to go through. And so, even though I talk about my suffering in relation to Job, it's nothing. Good God, that he went through a lot of stuff. But I'm also not a child of Esau, so of course I wouldn't go through as much stuff as Job. You know, because I'm not on that line. I'm not on that bloodline. So I'm not gonna go through what he went through. That doesn't make any sense. But Esau, oh yeah, y'all gonna have to go through that. Y'all, oh Jacob, yes. There'll be no Jacob's trouble. That's what Esau has to go through. And so until I see Esau going through what Job went through, all I can say is, y'all got a long way to go, Esau, before y'all could even get close to getting any sort of acknowledgement, forgiveness, or anything else by the Most High. y'all got to give up everything. And I'm not talking about give it up with a sneer on your face. Job, he did it with a grateful heart. He did it with a cheerful heart because the angel told him what he would get if he did it. So these people are well aware of what they will get if they do the right thing, and yet they continue to do the wrong thing, or they're cleaving in pride, as Big Levi always says. It's the same thing. So that's why the punishment for them is going to have to be so much worse because they already know what they're going to get if they do the right thing. We, Jacob, we don't know. We don't know. No angel comes down and tells us, okay, look, if you just and hold on to the end, you're going to be given this and this. No angel comes down and tells us that. That's not what happened. And just look at the difference between the testament of Job and the testament of Solomon. Not at one not one time did the angel come down, according to Solomon, and tell him what would happen if he was able to manhandle all those demons. Nobody told him. He just said, look, you know, I don't want this terror in my country anymore. I got to do whatever it takes to get this terror out of my country. And then he did whatever it took. Not so with Job. Job was told. He was told very clearly, look, you're going to have to endure a lot, and this is what's going to happen, and this is what you have to do in response to it. And, this is what you're going to get if you're able to endure. And it's going to be a long time you have to endure because of the sins of your father. However, the Most High has laid out a path for forgiveness for you, and this is the path. And all you have to do is follow it. And what does Job do? He does exactly what the angel says, and he is greatly rewarded for it. So they want to, again, I understand more now why the government is set up the way that it is, because technically it's set up so that they could technically say, oh, we did what Job said. We fed the poor, and we made sure everyone had a house, and we gave them loans, and we forgave them, and all of that stuff. We gave them notes specifically. We gave them notes, and we forgive the notes. We don't make them pay the notes. But they got a third party in there, these Radonites, that do make us pay the notes, even after the government says, oh, they don't have to pay the notes. This is what we set it up in our law so they don't have to repay the notes. And then what do they do? Matter of fact, I'm starting to think the whole way the law is set up is after mimicking what Job had to do in his testament. So they must have more of his information than they share with us. But that's what it's starting to feel like to me, that they just set it up so that they could technically say, well, we technically did what. Now, it's not our fault if they didn't read the law and they didn't know that they could use notes instead of as their tender. That's not our fault. Hell, it's not our fault if the banks won't accept their notes, even though we have it in law that they have to accept our notes. That's not our fault. We did what we were supposed to do. That's not how it works. I don't know. I for the life of me do not understand why it must just be Esau's bloodline. Why, and how, and whatever it is they think that they can outthink and trick the Most High. Why do they think they can do that? That makes absolutely no sense. And yet here they are trying to trick the Most High, saying, "Oh, well, we followed the rules. We did what Job did. We fed the poor. We kept bread. There's always bread. There's always bread around. There's no reason for anyone to starve. We paid all their bills. There's no reason for anyone not to have money. We take care of the poor. We take care of the orphan. We take care of the widow. We take care of everybody. Whole time they don't take care. They do, but they don't tell you. They don't tell you why they're doing it. They don't tell you what they're doing. They hide it in a bunch of law, lie to you about it, about what they're doing. I mean, I'm just starting to think that I already knew that everything was a lie, but I understand why they're lying. Like, I always say, I ask the Most High to tell me why. Like, why are they doing this? Why are these things happening? And I understand it because they want to be able to go to the Most High and say, look, we did what Job was sentenced to do to get his redemption, and so you have to forgive us. No, no. If you make us suffer in the process, if you make the sons of Jacob suffer in the process, no, you don't get forgiven. You don't get forgiven for doing the bare minimum. not letting our people have our freedom. You don't get forgiven for that. You don't get forgiven for that. That's not how that works. And that's why you have the plagues of the apocalypse of Abraham on you so deep. Because instead of just doing the right thing, letting people know how the system is, telling people who the people are and why they're doing what they're doing, they're lying about it, they're hiding it, they're obfuscating it, and they're continuing to make our people and their own people suffer. I mean, Esau's people is suffering just as much as Jacob's people are at this time, except the difference is Esau knows what's going to happen if they do the right thing, and our people, the Holy Spirit is just coming and telling us now what's going on. I mean, I never, whenever I read the book of Job, it never occurred to me that he wasn't one of our people. He wasn't one of our people. And that's why they always talk about Job being this righteous man and this and that and whatever, whatever, whatever. And he was. I mean, based on his own testament, and his daughters with Dinah, he was absolutely every bit of the man that they said he was. However, he was also he also had to atone for the sins of his father. And we've done our atoning over and over and over. Jacob always has to atone. Even though we were favored, we still have to atone. We've done it over and over and over again. Every time something came up, we always did what we were supposed to do. And we always got punished more severely than what we were supposed to. And so why the children of Esau believe that they can do whatever it is they want to do without punishment, essentially, and just kind of, you know, I'm not even sure what these people think. I'm not sure, but I can tell you one thing: they're not suffering how Job suffered, no matter what. They're not suffering how Job greeted. He let everybody in his house. He gave loans to everybody. He forgave them publicly. He fed everybody who came to his door, and he didn't let anyone leave out of his door broke. They let us walk around broke all the time with nothing. Some people have no food, no nothing. You apply for assistance, they deny you, they give you problems, they this, they that, all kinds of crazy stuff. They give you the assistance, and then if you happen to make a little bit too much money in a year, they come and they charge you for it, so you don't get a refund or anything like that. They do all kinds of crazy stuff. All kinds of crazy stuff. That's what they do. And so somehow and then they don't tell you what they're billing you for, and then they just take it. So it's all kinds of stuff going on. It's all kinds of stuff going on, and you're supposed to just sit back and take it because, well, according to Esau, they did what they were supposed to do. They fed the poor. They helped the needy. They did what they were supposed to do. And this I was going to talk about this at a different time, but it seems relevant now. There's a book that I have by D.W. Lawrence that talks about how the poor are supposed to be treated, and I have to really question why that part of the book is in there because I can't remember the name of the book right now. I can't remember the name of the book. Um, I think it's called A Compendium of Magic or something. I don't know. Um, but anyway, the point is, he in his book states that, oh, they're not supposed to take care of the poor. You're supposed to teach them how to do something. Don't give them money. Don't give them food. Don't don't go well, specifically he says don't go through religious organizations, which I agree with, but he's like, no, 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 don't give anybody food. Take somebody in, teach them how to do something, forget about like making sure that they're taken care of or treating large groups of people. You just take one person and you try to save that one person and that whole garbage stuff. And I'm like, I really have to rethink why he would have said that, knowing that he read the Testament of Job and seeing what his people were going to have to do in order to make up for their sins. Why would he put out in a book saying the exact opposite of what Job said he had to do to atone for his sins? It doesn't make any sense unless you're trying to lead people in the wrong direction deliberately, So just makes him look a little more suspect to me than before, just to throw that out there. These people, man, they know who their people are. D.W. Lawrence knows who his father is, who his father's father is. He knows he's a Edomite, he's a son of Esau. Why he out here telling the people to do the exact opposite of what Job had to do in his testament? And another thing about this, why I've never heard of the testament of Job. I was just when I listened to the Testament of Solomon, all of these other, apocrypha style books start popping up on the YouTube, and I'm like, let me listen to some of these, and like, good gracious, it's. I mean, I haven't read the apocrypha. Like I said, I'm new. I keep trying to tell people I haven't done as much of the reading as everyone else, but I'm like, man, this stuff is no joke. This stuff is no joke. If you get into any of this stuff, you will clearly, especially now, with all the information we have, you know, you will start to see this stuff in a slightly different way. It's not quite what they say. And they do have a lot to make up for. They have a lot to make up for, and it's not our problem, and it's not our doing to tell them what they have to do. But once you read the Testament of Job, you will know what they have to do. And if you don't see them doing it, you know for a fact that they're going to end up like the friend who came to visit that basically told Job to curse the Most High. You see what they had to do. Job had to set up an offering to save his friend because the Most High came down. He was about to smite that fool right then and there, right then and there. And guess what? They don't have a Job. They don't have a Job to save them. And so because they don't have one righteous man to save them, they do not. They do not. They have not one righteous man to save them. What are they going to do when the time comes for the Most High to come down in all his glory and all his wrath to deal with them? When, in fact, all they had to do was follow the example left to them by Job, which they refused to do. And they will be given the same glory as Job, which they refuse to do. So they want the glory of Job without doing the work of Job. And so I just wanted to point that out. You know, we have a very detailed description of what Esau has to do to be forgiven and recompensed by the Most High. And until we see it from them, you know, it's going to be total and complete destruction to them. So this is officially in the ley line. If you all, Esau, Edomites, if y'all wanted to stop your suffering right now, all you have to do is do what Job did in the Testament of Job, and your suffering will be over. So nobody can say that nobody didn't tell them. Nobody can say that they never heard that. I'm telling you right now, look, think of me as your angel. I'm telling you right now, if you want to stop your suffering, if you want to stop the bleeding, do what your brother Job did. Do what your father Job did. I would say brother, not father, because Job, all his original kids died, and then he married one of our people. So, yeah, do what your brother Job did. Following your brother Job's footsteps. He laid a very clear path for redemption for you. It's not hard to follow because all you have to do is follow the laws on your own books. The laws are already there. All you have to do is follow them. And so I highly recommend that you follow them willingly because you best believe I'm sending out some spirits to make you follow them unwillingly because that's what we do on this side. You're not just going to keep torturing my people under the guise of not torturing my people and then somehow think you're going to end up with the glory that the Most High gave Job. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. So I encourage you to do it willingly because I will be sending the spirits out to make you do it unwillingly. So, um, everyone, I highly suggest you listen to that book, all the way through. There's definitely going to be some more stuff we talk about from that because Job's daughters, um, that goes into some whole different mythology that we really need to tie together to understand kind of what's going on with that. And so I just want to get this out there. I want to make sure that these Edomites know that they do have a path to forgiveness, and it's laid out in exquisite detail in the Testament of Job. And so you better get to it, because if you don't do it willingly, you're going to do it unwillingly, and the Most High will not forgive you on top of that, because that's the blessing and the curse of going against the children of light. So the spirits that were here with us, you're invited to go in peace. To my beloved viewers, you're invited to be at peace. And always remember, the Most High is your peace. Shalom.